everyone. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the 7 health habits to start first. Now, I know when it comes to health habits, it can be overwhelming. There are so many things that need to be done in order to improve your health, in order to lose weight, that it can feel like so much to manage. Next week, I'm going to be talking about the stress and frustration related to health and weight loss goals. So make sure that you subscribe so that you do not miss that. But this week, I want to talk about the top 7 health habits to get you started on your health journey. Now, listen, these are going to work for everyone. If you're a beginner, this will work for you. If you're a little bit more advanced, being mindful of these 7 things is really going to help you stay on track and kind of keep everything humming along as you want it to so that you can maintain your health outcomes as you are seeing them in your life. This is Upcycled Adulting, by the way, my YouTube channel, where I help you upcycle your real life into your best life by creating healthy habits, overcoming obstacles, and growing to accomplish your goals. And we are continuing on talking about habits, specifically health habits. So let's get started with our top 7 health habits to get you started or keep you on track with your health and weight loss goals. Number 1 is eat more plants. Now, listen, unless you're following a carnivore diet for your health condition, your specific needs, eating more plants is recommended across the board. It does not matter what nutrition plan you follow or what diet plan you follow. They're all going to tell you that it's really important to be eating more plants. There are a couple reasons for this. One is that plants contain a lot of nutrients, a lot of macronutrients and phytonutrients that you're not going to get in other places. In addition, because of the fiber in plants, they help you stay full longer. And because your body knows when it's not getting the nutrients it needs, when you eat more plants, you have less cravings and you have more energy to do all of the other things you need for your health. So we want to make sure that we're getting in as many plants as possible. The recommendation is 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, leaning more, of course, toward vegetables. But let's not go off demonizing fruit. There is nothing wrong with eating fruit, and it can be a great way to satisfy that little sweet craving that you might have. Now, it's good to know, because I know everyone's like, 5, that's so much. It's good to know that things like a teaspoon of garlic counts as a serving of vegetables. So keep that in mind. It doesn't have to always be a massive amount of vegetables. Think about what a serving size really is. For most vegetables, it's just a cup. It's not actually that much. And most of us can get that in relatively easily. I like to include vegetables in every meal to make it paced out and a little easier for me to get them all in. So in the morning, I often have eggs with spinach, and mushrooms and some salsa, or maybe I'll have some roasted vegetables with some fried eggs on top, things like that. And getting those vegetables in the morning can be really helpful to getting your day started off right, feeling your best throughout the day, maximizing your energy and your concentration levels. I have to tell you, it is an absolute game changer. I've been teaching people to do this for a really long time. And it has made a huge difference across the board to everyone who has started doing this. Now, I will say, if you're increasing plants, please do it gradually. Don't go from 1 serving to 5. That can cause a lot of stomach upset and GI challenges. So gradually start increasing your servings by adding 1 new serving a day for a week, and then add another and another and so forth and so on until you get to at least 5. Number 2 is get your Z's. You need that rest. Now, I know you might have thought that number 2 would be exercise, because we so frequently think of exercise and eating healthy as the foundational pillars of health. But the reality is that the number 2 factor in weight loss is sleep, not exercise. Number 1 is, of course, nutrition. And that being sleep deprived has outrageous health outcomes. It causes all kinds of, it's a contributor to all kinds of chronic illnesses, mental health challenges, reduces your judgment, makes you much more likely to be injured, things of that nature. So get your sleep. The average adult needs 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. And by the way, that's for people who are about 25 to 45. Before and after that, you probably need a little bit more sleep. So don't be surprised by that. Give your body the rest it needs. I promise you it's not a waste of time. You will be more productive, more creative, and overall, your brain will function better if you just get enough sleep. If you're not sure how much sleep you need, you can find out by going to bed at the same time every night and seeing what time you naturally wake up. That'll give you a really good idea as to how much sleep you need. Go ahead and play with it. I like to tell people to start off with giving themselves 9 hours of sleep and seeing if they wake up before that, or if you set that alarm at 9 hours, are you still feeling groggy? Do you still feel like you needed to stay in bed longer? You're not really adapting to that. That's a really good way to go about it. Now, for those of you who are neurodivergent, you may notice that you need less sleep. There are many reasons why people need less sleep, and it's pretty well known that there are some pretty public figures who need less sleep. I want you to know that that's okay. The important thing is that you're getting the sleep that you need, that your body, your individual body requires. And whether that's 5 hours or 10 hours, I want you to know that it says nothing about your character, your motivation, or anything like that if you need more or less sleep. It doesn't make you a better or more accomplished person to need less sleep, and it doesn't make you lazy if you need more. It's just what your individual body needs to function at its very, very best. Number 3 is move your body. Now, I like to refer to exercise as moving your body because I think when you talk about exercise, people tend to get blinders and they get really into what exercise is, right? And they start thinking about exercise routines you should be doing, or maybe types of exercise you should be doing. I know for years I was really hung up that I should be running, and I hate running. It's not a thing. And I always felt like if I wasn't running, I wasn't really working out, right? I was faking it. And I want you to know that that's not the case at all. The best form of exercise is the exercise that you enjoy, because what matters most is that you'll stick with it. And the easiest form of exercise to start by far is walking. You can walk your dog, you can walk to the park with your kids. It doesn't have to be an intense, high-paced walk for you to get benefit from it. One of the most interesting things to know about moving your body is that in the blue zones, which are the parts of the world where people are consistently living over 100 years old and in good health, they don't have any regimented exercise. They just move more. People are just more active in those areas, and that's what's keeping them healthy. So even incidental activity is really good for your body. With so many people working such sedentary jobs, it's really important that we're intentional about moving, because so many of us, myself included, sit behind a desk all day long, and it is just not the best thing for our health. As a matter of fact, the CDC has said that sitting is the new smoking. So these outcomes are really, really poor for people who spend the vast majority of their time sedentary. So just be mindful of moving a little more. Number 4 on our list is head outdoors. If you can take that exercise outside, if you can go for a walk outside, all the better. Get that like double whammy in there. But even going outside and having your morning cup of coffee can make a huge difference. It's really, really important for humans to spend time outside. It is not natural for us to spend all of our time indoors. There's a few different things that are beneficial about being outside, aside from just simply being in nature and the way that that impacts our mental health, the sun, and having that vitamin D exposure. And in addition to that, when you head outdoors, you are escaping indoor air pollution, which is so incredibly bad for you. The scents and fragrances in our house, and by the way, if you have a lot of artificial fragrances in your house, it's a good idea to get rid of them. But those fragrances in our house and the air circulation is not great. It causes indoor air pollution, which can be really, really problematic and is really hard on your body and can cause some toxic overload. One of the best things you can do is just go outside. I promise you, it's time well spent. It has been shown in study after study that spending even 10 minutes outside refreshes you and allows you to come back more creative and more productive. So if you can get outside in the middle of your workday, all the better. That's what I've got. Take your lunch outside, take your coffee outside, even if you don't want to exercise outside because you're like me, you don't want to be out there in that heat. Listen, I like a specific temperature, right? So I don't want to exercise outside if it's too hot, and I don't want to be out there if it's too cold. So I just like to spend a little bit of time outside, relaxing, unwinding, drinking my coffee, doing a little journaling, and reconnecting with myself. Number 5 is hydrate. I cannot say enough about the need for water. The very first sign of dehydration is not thirst, it's fatigue. And so many of us feel chronically fatigued without recognizing that it's because we're actually dehydrated. You do not have to drink plain water. If you don't like it, that's okay. You can do herbal tea, you can do electrolyte packs, just watch the sugar and salt there. You can do fruit infused water, you can do sparkling water. There are just so many options. What I do not recommend that you do is what I tried years and years ago. Caffeine free Diet Coke does not count as water. Stay away from the sodas, even if they're 0 calorie. Stay away from the energy drinks. Those are all problematic for a whole different set of reasons that we're not going to get into today. And stick as close to water as possible, even if you are flavoring it. Now, one of the ways I find easiest to help me get my water in is to carry a water bottle around with me. I kind of lean into the fact that I'm not likely to go get something. And so I just carry water with me whenever I go, and that way I have it. It's the easiest thing for me to drink. If I want something different, I have to go and get it. And so I tend to just go for the water because that's what I have. Convenience is definitely a factor, so lean into it here. Also, you may be interested in knowing that as you eat more plants, your water intake will increase naturally because so many plants are so high in water. Particularly things like cucumbers are really high in water, and a lot of other fruits and vegetables are as well. So you will find that you're naturally hydrating better just by eating more plants, for real. Number 6 is change your mindset. I know that this can be easier said than done. I know firsthand, I spent many, many years hating my body. I spent many years at war with my body. I spent many years feeling betrayed by my body. And so I understand that there's not some switch you flip that makes you stop feeling that way about your body. I know that I'm not going to say this in this video and you're going to be like, you know what? She has a good point. Now I love my body. It doesn't really work that way. There is a gradual process of coming to terms with your body, of learning to like it, and then hopefully one day of learning to love it. But even if you think I'm never going to love my body, or the only way I would love my body is if I lost a certain amount of weight, or if I looked great in a bathing suit, or if whatever the if is, okay? I want you to know that just coming to a space of learning to work with your body, learning to listen to your body, learning to trust your body again, learning to just accept your body makes a huge difference. And I know that even those things for some are a very big step, very big. And I had that experience myself. If this is an area that you know you particularly struggle with, I cannot recommend enough getting into Inner Circle and taking the affirmation masterclass. And y'all, I know some of you have tried affirmations. You just tuned me out. You were like, affirmations don't work. That's nonsense. But I want you to know that they are scientifically proven to work. If affirmations aren't working for you, it's not because they don't work. It's because you haven't been taught the way to make them work. Most of the information floating around out there about affirmations and how they work aren't based on the science. They're not based on neuroscience. They're not based on how our brains actually are trained. And most of the information is misleading or completely and totally false. So I highly recommend you take a look at the affirmation masterclass in Inner Circle because it is scientifically proven. It has worked for me. It has worked for literally every single person I've taught it to. And this can drastically change how you think about your body, how you think about your health, how you approach your health, and how you think about yourself in general. Massive change here. So change your mindset. Come to a space where you genuinely want to care for your body because that's going to make the biggest difference. I want you to know if you're approaching health and weight loss from the perspective of, I want to manipulate my body into being a certain size or a certain weight, it will not happen. And even if you do lose that weight, even if you do get that outcome, you will not be able to maintain it. And the simple reason is we don't actually feel motivated or incentivized to care about something that we don't care about, to take care of something that doesn't matter to us. And so if we can't change our mindset about valuing our body and prioritizing caring for it and trusting our bodies, we will really struggle with every other health habit. So make sure that you are mindful of your mindset. And number 7, and I think this one is the most important one of all in a lot of ways, is to give yourself grace. I feel like when we set out for a health journey or a weight loss journey, we set the bar really high. We go in all or nothing. We get really frustrated with ourselves when we hit plateaus or we have hiccups or we eat birthday cake or right. And it's so important to recognize that our health habits are part of our real lives. They're part of something bigger than we are, right? They're not just about us. You may find that something happens and you can't exercise. For example, you have a kid home sick and you're taking care of them. That doesn't mean that you failed at your health habits. It just means that there are other things in your life that also need your time and attention. And being able to give yourself grace, being able to look at the situation and say, okay, what happened here? How can I better accommodate myself? How can I make this easier for myself? Really, really matters. I was sharing in Inner Circle today that one of the big things for me, for example, in eating more plants was my being aware of what the hurdles were, right? Why did I struggle to eat more plants? What was in the way? And one of the big things is that I love salad, but I hate prepping lettuce. And just having a workaround for prepping lettuce made such a big difference. So instead of beating myself up about not having that salad, I would just give myself grace and be like, okay, so it didn't happen. What do I need to be able to make it happen? It's really important to recognize, especially when it comes to food, that food isn't just nourishment for our bodies. Food is nourishment for our souls. Food creates a cultural connection. Food is important for so many reasons. So many things about our health and managing our health have layers like an onion of complication. And what does this mean? What does this mean to me? How does this work in my life? How can I find the time to exercise when I have a really demanding schedule, right? As many of you know, I have 5 kids. I have 2 special needs kids. I've run 2 businesses out of my house. So finding time to exercise was a real challenge for me. And instead of being angry with myself, instead of calling myself a failure, instead of beating myself up, I leaned into grace. I made space in my life to really take that path of self-discovery and to really say, look, you're doing your best, right? So what needs to happen to make this easier for you? And in the case of exercise, I really just needed to focus on smaller movements throughout the day instead of a regimented exercise routine. And in the case of food, I really needed to focus on things that were easier for me to prep and eat. And that made a huge difference. And I know it can make a difference for you too. I want you to know that if you've been unsuccessful with your health habits, if there is one thing you take from this video, let it be this. If you have been unsuccessful in your health habits, it's not because you're lazy. It's not because you're not disciplined enough. It's not because you don't have willpower. It's because you have not adjusted your mindset. You have not included grace in your life. You have not gotten curious about your own needs. You've gotten too focused on that self-discipline piece, right? Beating yourself up and shaming yourself and being frustrated with yourself. And the reality is, every change in our life is challenging. Our brains are hardwired against change. You aren't doing anything wrong. You're human. So give yourself grace. Figure out what you need and accommodate yourself. Because here's the thing, you do deserve that. And if you have children, please know they are watching you. Every minute they're watching you, and you are teaching them how to treat themselves as adults. So if it's not enough to do it for you, do it for the people who love you. Do it for the people who are tired of seeing you beat yourself up, okay? Do it for the people who want you to see and to love yourself as much as they do, because you do deserve that. I want you to know that you are absolutely amazing and you deserve to live the life you have been dreaming about. And you honestly, truly can have that life. I will see you next week. Do not forget to subscribe for more. Bye, everyone.